Hello there. Good evening and welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos and thank you for tuning into the channel from wherever it is that you're catching this. I hope you are enjoying the midweek action from the Premier League there. Match day 15 ongoing right from Tuesday and it will go out to Thursday there. So I hope you have been following some of that action. On Tuesday night, we had Wolverhampton Wanderers beat up against Burnley by a goal to nil. Wang Hee-chan there, I think, scoring his 8th goal of the Premier League this season. He's been quite on spectacular form this season. He's been one of the marksmen up for the Wolves there, alongside the likes of Pedro Neto, that gentleman in midfield, Lima, Matthias Cunha, those guys. They've been the core of Gary O'Neill's side. I was quite disappointed for recent company in the way his team played and practically losing that game on the back of beating Sheffield United, I think by 5 goals to nil in the weekend. So it was such a disappointing result. Then we had a nail-biting fixture between Arsenal and Luton Town at Kenilworth Ward. There, quite surprising in terms of the way the game spanned out. Luton put up quite a great performance. They thought they had salvaged a point or perhaps a decent result from this Arsenal side, they had even threatened to upset because at one point that game was 3-2. So, but eventually Arsenal managed to make it 4-3. Declan Rice, Arsenal's record summer signing from West Ham, that is Declan Rice scoring the winner in the 97th minute in what really was the last kick of the game. Martin Odegaard providing the assist. It was a very entertaining game, very wonderful to watch. I did think Luton in that sham of a stadium, very compact place, very small, tiny. By going by Premier League standards, I thought I was quite off-put. The camera angles in some cases were poor, but it was football. We did enjoy the bit of it. Gabriel Martinelli scoring for Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz there who scored to make it 3-3 after Ross Barkley had given Luton Town the lead, and then eventually Declan Rice stealing it for the Gunners to maintain their grip on the top spot of the table ahead of match day 16. So it was a beautiful game to watch. And then on Wednesday we had multiple games. Think about 6 games in there, with Manchester United beating up against Chelsea by 2 goals to 1, Man City losing to Aston Villa by a goal to nil. We had Crystal Palace lose to Bournemouth by 2 goals to nil. Brentford losing to Brighton by 2 goals to 1, while Fulham thrashed Nottingham Forest by 5-0, a result that saw people or fans and the media question the credentials of Steve Hooper, who was on the verge of being fired last season, but then while the results weren't going his way, his minders decided to give him a contract and eventually managed to save his team from relegation. And this time around, things are still not looking pretty for them, whether they will retain him. Remember, we came into this match day just after Sheffield United had sacked the manager and saw the return of Chris Wilder there to be in charge, as his side lost to Liverpool by 2 goals to 0. Virgil van Dijk and Dominic Szoboszlai scoring for Liverpool there to retain their second spot on the table. So beautiful game it was there equally, but I thought it was a very decent result. Yes, Sheffield United were quite very defensive. They were very disciplined. They had an opportunity on the break before Liverpool found their opener, but they couldn't capitalize on that chance. Still in the same game, they had a couple of runs in there on the counter, but couldn't make them count. And eventually they lost. And then Aston Villa went and dominated Manchester City in that 1-0 defeat. Now the scoreline is quite deceitful. for the result that we saw, because it's a game that saw Aston Villa have 22 shots at Manchester City's goal, 7 of them being on target, while Manchester City had only 2. And I remember those 2, Erling Haaland forcing Emiliano Martinez into a double save. Beyond that, they hardly had a sniff. Their possession prowess was quite marginal. Aston Villa had up to 6 corners, while Manchester City didn't have any. You would really struggle to remember the last time Manchester City were dominated to that extent in a game, but Unai Emery's Aston Villa there quite put Manchester City to the screws as they went in a run of 4 games without victory. Remember, they came to this fixture on a back of a 3-3 draw against Tottenham Hotspurs. They had also drawn against Liverpool by 1-1 and also drew against Chelsea by 4-4. So those are the last 3 results before yesterday's fixture, with Leon Bailey scoring the sole, goal that won the game for Unai Emery's side to help them move third on the table, leapfrogging Manchester City themselves. Should Manchester City be worried, or are we worried about Manchester City? Personally, not really, because I know they can bounce back and go on a run of 14 or even 18 games unbeaten or just winning every game. So they have the player power, they have every tool at their disposal. Yes, yesterday they weren't without their midfield general, that's in Rodri, because he was suspended, having accumulated I think 5 yellow cards this season, so he had to sit the match out. So I'm not really concerned, and I do understand they are welcoming back their captain in Kevin De Bruyne, who will be returning from injury just in time for their FIFA Club World Cup engagements. So the result, yes, paints a bad picture in recent times for Manchester City, but I'm really not worried about them. First of all, 30 points after 15 games is quite decent enough. They're not far off the top. They're just 6 points adrift, which they can easily catch up to. So there's nothing to worry about. And just like Pep Guardiola mentioned during the press conference before that game, he said they do have everything on their side that they can go and win that title. He's well aware that no team has won it 4 consecutive times, but if anything, he's one manager that has proved to us time and again that he can upset, the balance and defy all history odds and get things done. So I'm really not worried about Manchester City and their form and all that. They will have Rodri return to action and some of their key players, including Matthias Nunes, that has been injured for quite some time. Yes, Mateo Kovacic did just return from injury himself. So I'm really not worried about Manchester City, but I did think it was quite a decent game. And then Manchester United beating up against Chelsea. I would say a wasteful Manchester United, because they could have beaten this Chelsea side as many as 5 goals and win it by 5-1 or so. But they did capitalize on their chances. Nonetheless, a win is a win. Scott McTominay, the hero for that game, scoring a brace, while Cole Palmer had scored to level matters. Bruno Fernandes did miss a penalty in that one, but United did miss a couple of chances in there. Of course, Andre Onana made a couple of saves here and there, because Chelsea threatened to level that game, but it was never to be, and Manchester United returned to winning ways. It was one of those games. Of course, Chelsea came into the game with a whole list of injuries. If you saw their bench, beyond Badiashile, you could hardly recognize most of those players. But it's not to say that the starting lineup they fielded was not decent enough to, earn them a decent result, just that it was never meant to be. This season, Manchester United have refused to draw a game. They either win or they lose. It is as simple as that for them. So they did win this one. Brilliant result again. I saw Sofian Amrabat saying that they are with the manager, they are behind the manager, they trust him, they're trying to do everything he wants, and manager Erik ten Hag also did indicate that that's how he wants his team to play, to compete, to show, the desire to run after every ball, win the 50-50s like they were doing yesterday, they did show the passion and desire to try and win the game, and eventually they won the game. Surprising that it was Scott McTominay that had to rescue them, but I mean, like I said, a win is a win. They will worry about their strikers later on for failing to score and all that, but they did get the points that they needed. So that was it for match day 15 on Wednesday. But it does continue on Thursday. Like I said, Everton will be playing against Newcastle, while Tottenham will also host West Ham United. Perhaps by the time you watch this video, these fixtures may as well already have been played and the results are out. But there will be the last fixtures on match day 15 to push us into match day 16 going into the weekend, where Arsenal will be visiting Aston Villa. Now, Arsenal were the last team to beat Aston Villa this year in March at their own turf. I think since then they've not lost a home fixture, the Premier League. So it's going to be a tough fixture for the Gunners, for the title contenders. Unai Emery being asked in the aftermath of his victory against Manchester City whether they are title contenders. Of course, he dismissed that praise and all, saying that there's about 7 teams that are better than them. They just want to keep their heads down and win as many games as they can win. But it's not to say that they're quite really decent side. And when you look at the likes of Oli Watkins, Leon Bailey, Moussa Diaby, Douglas Luiz in that midfield, John McGinn, the captain, they're really playing well. Pau Torres in that defense, Emiliano Martinez in goal, all decent players. Matty Cash, quite a decent side. You even forget at some point that they do have a Yuri Tillemans in their side. So it's a decent side. Yeah. So after those results that I've run you through, here is a look at the table. Arsenal do lead the pack with 36 points after 15 games. Liverpool are second, 34 points. Aston Villa third with 32 points. Manchester City fourth with 30 points. Tottenham fifth with 27 points, just as much as Manchester United in 6th. Newcastle are in 7th. If they do win their game against Everton, they could leapfrog both Tottenham and Manchester United. They could go to 29 points if they can manage to hammer out a win today against that Everton side, who have been good performers away from home in recent times. And I think they've won about 3 of their last 4 fixtures. They've been in decent form. And then Brighton and Hove Albion are 8th on the table, while West Ham are 9th, Chelsea 10th, Brentford 11th, Fulham 12th, Wolves 13th, Crystal Palace coming 14th place. Crystal Palace disappointingly losing against Bournemouth yesterday by 2-0. Now Bournemouth are 15th with 16 points, Nottingham Forest 16th, Luton Town 17th, Everton 18th, Burnley, Sheffield United do complete that table of 20 teams ahead of match day 16. Otherwise, that's what I had for you today. Thanks for taking the time. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and have a good rest of the week and leading to the weekend. Thank you.